Hello and welcome to the preview show here on the Rangers Rabble. My name is Martin Douglas even, and today I am joined by Wilf Marshall. Wilf, how are you?
Not bad, Martin. Not bad at all.
And I'm also joined by Greg, the most handsome man on the podcast, Campbell. Greg, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. When they say
You,
handsome, there, aye.
you weren't expecting that, were you? Obviously, today we're here to preview the St Mirren game on Wednesday, and Wilf, St Mirren, the only team to beat us this season, and Paisley. We're travelling to Paisley. What are you expecting for Wednesday's game?
We obviously expecting another tough match. I'm expecting a stronger Rangers team than played 2 weeks ago in the Betfred, and I'm expecting 3 points and on to the game next Saturday.
Is there a danger, Greg, that it might be revenge on the players' minds and they don't stick to their normal game plan? Obviously, the normal game plan didn't work, so obviously they need to change up something. But is there a possibility that it might be a case that the Betfred might still be quite stuck in the memory?
I think it will still be in their minds, but I think the way Gerrard's got the players going to be in a positive way. I think it will be to spur us on and really take the game to them and play the way we can play. I think if we just follow, especially the way we did against Hibs on Saturday, there Sunday, just keep going with possession, play our game, and I think the victories will be a positive sense. I think Gerrard will have it in their heads that we'll go and get the 3 points. Aye.
Just before we come back onto the Hibs game, see if we could just have a look, because obviously that's Christmas over and done with, heading into the new year. If we could take a look at Rangers' season so far, just very, very quickly. 20 games played, 18 games won, 2 draws, no defeats, 54 goals for, 5 against. It's a pretty remarkable start to the season.
Actually, it's incredible. It's a great start to the season, but I think we're only about 3 points better off than we were this time last year. I would think, because last year we started off really well. The goals against column's ridiculous. I mean, you shouldn't be 20 games in losing 5 goals. That's bonkers. I mean, that's absolutely crazy. As I said on the previous pod I was on, the previous preview, my concern is going to be the early games in January, because that's when it's gone awry the last 2 seasons. We've been great up to this point, and we'll fall off a cliff after that. I don't think it'll happen. I think they've got a different mentality, and they'll be hurting from what's happened previously. But I mean, the first half of the season's been better than we could have dreamt of, really.
What's the big difference this season then, Greg? Why do you think people like myself and Wilf are felt with more confidence considering what has happened the last 2 seasons?
I think the kind of players he's brought in, but I think Gerrard seemed to have got further potential with the players for last season as well. Those players, like you look at Tavernier, they could have dreamed this season he's had, but there's a level that I never thought he would get to, especially defensively. He's just really, really the best he's ever been. And then there's other players as well, like Arfield just came on. You thought maybe he was going to be like a squad team player, but now he's really pushing for one of the first names to be on the team sheet. So I think it just collectively as a group, as Wilf was saying, the mentality seems to be different. He seems to have got a bit of belief in them that they can achieve something. I think just kind of all working together and no listening to the outside noise. I think that was a big problem before as well. If they did get a bad result last season, then it was a massive deal, and it really impacted the players. Whereas after the St Mirren game, that wasn't maybe the same reaction as we were saying in that pod. We were all gutted and disappointed, but it was more, right, the next game, let's go in the next game and get 3 points, and I think that's carried on to the players.
Well, no, yeah, I totally agree. But going back to the St Mirren game then, Wilf, what do Rangers need to do differently on Wednesday than what they've done against St Mirren in the Betfred Cup?
Stay switched on, and I would say take it seriously. I don't mean that in a disparaging way against the team, but it looked in the Betfred game as if we went one up early doors, and they thought, well, we can coast in from here. And you can't coast in against any team in Scotland, because, as we always say, every game for them is cup final, and that's the way it's turning out for us. I think the team will be stronger. I mean, the Betfred game, the St Mirren seemed to let the left-hand side have the ball because they weren't too concerned, because Barisic wasn't there. I was fully expecting Barisic to play on Wednesday night, which means if they go with the same game plan, it won't work because we'll have an out ball on the other side. So I think St Mirren will play differently. we just have to be on our game, as Greg says. Just do what we've been doing. Just stay switched on and take our chances. I mean, since the St Mirren game, we seem to have tightened up at the back again, which is good. But as I say, just stay switched on. Take the chances and don't think the game's won until the game's actually finished.
Do you go along with that then, Greg? It's just a case of staying more concentrated and
definitely.
Not allow. I think what we did see in the Hibs game was that teams have started to work out that they could exploit us down the wings, especially when Tav and Barisic are so high up the park. So is it just a case of stay concentrated and do the right things and not go 1-0 up and think that's a game won?
Oh, definitely. Aye. As I say, again, no, as Wilf was saying, no disrespect to St Mirren, but I think that's what Rangers kind of did when the goals and get the goals. A bit of complacency had stuck in. But I think there'll be lessons learned. Aye, if they do kind of get an early goal again, just stick to the game plan and go for more and just keep going until the final whistle, because that's when I've learned before, seasons before, that teams can score at any moment if you're not on the ball. So it's just making sure each individual does their job carefully, even if it is just putting the ball in Mo's head at times. That's what you've got to do. Just do the basics right and just kind of work that through the team and feel a lot more confident we'll get the 3 points. Aye.
So just coming back to yourself, Greg, obviously St Mirren, we have to actually take a quick look at, and look, they've won 3 of their last 5 games in the SPFL. You know, I think 3 of those 5 games were away from home. I think we only lost 1 of them. They've gained form, and I think everybody was talking about them being 100% relegation fodder. They've got a big striker that I quite like, and I think his name's Jonathan Obika. Him and McGrath are the top scorers with 6 goals, but then if you look at after that, the top scorer after that, he's only got 2. So maybe they don't score the greatest amount of goals, but they have improved their form drastically in the last sort of 5, 6, 7 games.
Oh, definitely. Aye, I think with Jim Goodwin just been there for years and kind of knowing the mentality of St Mirren and really knowing what the club's about, he's kind of transformed that, but in a different way, because I've always known him as being a kind of tough competitor in the middle of the park. He liked to tackle, but he seems to have got St Mirren settled down and playing a bit of football. Like, they've actually been, against Rangers were actually quite good to watch at times. Refreshing to see a team that was attacking. I think they've carried that on. I think they won at the weekend. It was at 2-0 at Ross County, and I've seen the highlights, and it was the same kind of tactics that they played. They're pressing quite high, and they were neat and tidy in possession, and they were patient. So that's how it's going to be tough, because I think they're getting, as Wilf was saying, I think their game plan might change slightly if Barisic plays, because then they've got to look at the kind of difference. But I still think they'll be tough in the middle, and they'll press Rangers, and they'll give us a minute. So that's how it's up to us to keep concentrated.
They are going to be a team, Wilf, that are full of confidence.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, like you say, they're on a decent run of form. I think they were unbeaten in 9 or 10 when they beat us in the Betfred, and they've kind of kept that form going. But I think a lot of their confidence is coming from the fact they've got a decent goalkeeper now as well. I mean, they've brought in Jack Hannock from ourselves, and I mean he's a decent keeper, and I think he's instilling confidence in them to allow them to try and play football, because they know that, you know, if teams do break against them, they've got half a chance their keeper will keep the ball out, whereas in previous seasons they've shipped a lot of goals, but they don't seem to be doing that now.
No, that's true. That's very, very true. Right, what type of game, Wilf, do we expect? Do we expect it to go along the same lines as the Betfred Cup, and obviously if we just show ourselves up a bit at the back, we'll be fine, or do we expect Gerrard to maybe look at the game slightly differently?
I think we'll approach it very similar to the way we have been approaching most of the games, with the Betfred game aside. I mean, the way I look at it, I don't think St Mirren can play a lot better than they did that night, and we won't play hopefully won't play as badly as we did. And they only squeaked to win that night through mistakes that we made. So if we cut out the mistakes and play to our potential, it'll be a tough game. But I think we should win it fairly comfortably.
And I suppose, right, we'll take a look at who we think is going to start, because obviously we always get that right. Greg, Gerrard only made 1 change for the Hibs game. Do you expect something similar going into the game on Wednesday at Paisley, considering the result? And like I keep repeating myself, in the Betfred Cup?
I think so. I think I know there's a kind of important run of games coming up, but I think they've got to go with the kind of strongest team you've got so I don't think there'll be much change in the back four. I think you'll have Tav, Goldson. I think you'll go with Balogun. Barris is it's close between Balogun and Halander, because I think Halander will start against them. So I think there'll be a change in there. The midfield's difficult because I don't think Jack will be available. The way Gerrard was talking, I don't think he's going to be there. And then Arfield's got an ankle injury as well. So interesting. So the midfield, unless he throws a curveball in and puts Barker in somewhere as well, it could be interesting. But my midfield, I think Aribo, Kamara, and probably Davis. That's the same midfield as Saturday, so I don't think there'll be much kind of difference there. Up top, I know there was I don't know what you think, a lot of talk about Kent being dropped because he was looking a bit leggy. That's possibly where Barker came in, but I think Kent's work rate's been outstanding. I thought he was good with that against Hibs, so that'll be interesting. And then up top, Morelos, Defoe's a chance possibly coming in for Hadji, but Hadji then was good. But I think Morelos, it kind of suits Morelos, and I think that was maybe a problem the last time. They were looking for his kind of link-up play and getting in behind. I think that's where we struggled against him last time. So I think along the lines, no far off for me.
A couple of individuals, Wilf, that Greg's mentioned there, and if we can have a look first at Ryan Kent, I personally don't agree. But do you feel that Ryan Kent maybe needs 1 or 2 games out? Obviously not 2 games because the next game's against them. But do you think maybe this is a perfect opportunity to give Ryan Kent a rest on Wednesday, or do you think that falls us back into the trap of resting players for the Old Firm game?
Personally, if I was picking the team, I would leave him out. I'd put him on the bench. As Greg says, his work rate's phenomenal. I mean, he's always there. He's always looking for the ball. He's always trying it, but it's just not coming off for him. And he does look a bit leggy. So I would leave him on the bench, with the plan being to give him half an hour, depending on how the game's going. Because I know managers tend to look like that these days and sort of in their head plan how they would make substitutions if the game's going the right way. I would probably take him out of the starting lineup, but with a view to bringing him on sort of after an hour or whatever, depending on how the game's going. Because his work rate's phenomenal, but it's just not working for him. And there is other players could do with some game time, but quite how you'd mix it up with whether you would put Morelos in, move Roof out wide, leave Hadji to the other side, or whether you would bring in it or Defoe. I don't really know. I mean, the last 2 games I've said Morelos is coming back and he hasn't, so I'm not throwing that card on the table just yet.
So where do you stand, Wilf, then on the Balogun Halander debate? Because obviously there'll be a lot of people saying whoever plays against St Mirren won't play against Celtic in the second. So where do you stand on the Balogun Halander debate?
I'd be happy with either of them. I'd be more inclined to play Helander against that lot on Saturday. But I don't go with whoever plays on Wednesday won't play on Saturday, because we've got a free week after that. We don't play till the Saturday, so you can go out. You can say to them for the game on the second week, just go out and empty it. And you'll have a couple of days off, and then come back in midweek, because this is the first weekend months that we haven't got a midweek game. So you could effectively go with the same team twice, although I don't really expect that. But I wouldn't say if Balogun plays against St Mirren, Helander plays against Celtic, or vice versa. The same one could play against both. And personally, it wouldn't bother me which one played, to be honest.
Are you along the same lines, Greg? Are you comfortable with the 2 of them?
I think so. I think definitely the 2 of them have shown that they're solid, they're composed, and they can really do a job for Rangers. I think the difference I've seen between the 2 is maybe Helander can bring the ball out slightly better. That's been extra picky, but driving the team forward, so it pushes Rangers up the park a wee bit. And that's the kind of only difference. But no, I think he could play any of the 2 of them, I think, because they're both good enough. So I'm happy with any of them.
I think the only slight difference for me, I think, is the pace. But I don't even know how much difference there is in pace. But Balogun just looks slightly faster than Helander. But as Davy Weir proved, if you're good enough and you can read the game well enough, you don't need that lightning pace. But Greg, is there a worry that possibly the up and coming Old Firm game might take the players' eyes slightly off the ball?
No, really, no. I think we've hopefully learned that we just need to take each game at a time. So I think Gerrard will 100% make sure that all eyes are just on Wednesday at St Mirren and just get the job done there before we can even think about Celtic. It's probably natural that obviously the players know it's Old Firm week, it's coming up, it's another massive game. It really put the pressure on, but no, I think all eyes will be on just Wednesday, get the game plan there, get the 3 points, and then for them onwards we can just look at the game against them. But no, I think it's just important, as I keep saying it, like game at a time, you can't look too far ahead. And I know a lot of Rangers fans online have been, but it's just, no, we've learned for that before, so we just need to go on Wednesday.
Gerrard did say, Wilf, in his post-match after the Hibs game, when the interviewer asked him about, how the league's looking, he pretty much dismissed them and said, listen, we just look to the next game. How difficult is it to do that, though, when you've started so well, you've got a chance to put more pressure on your rivals and go 19, 20 points clear?
From a supporter's point of view, it's really, really difficult because we obviously look at games against them. I'm always looking at the New Year game. I mean, that makes or breaks the New Year. I've never been in a professional dressing room, so I can't really say how they would be with it. But I think
wait till you're in the rangersrabble 5-a-side team.
Even when I did play, I had 2 left feet. Neither of them worked.
Sorry, Wilf.
I'm the wrong side of 50, so I don't play football anymore. But no, I think that the coaching staff will keep them grounded. And they'll say, look, let's worry about Wednesday first, get that out of the way, and then it'll be full steam ahead on. I don't even think that in the dressing room they'll even have mentioned 2nd of January yet.
Mm-hmm.
They might get a mention from them on the run up to the game. So look, go out, put the St Mirren game to bed early doors. We'll make some changes, to rest the legs before that game. But I think that's the way they've played every game. Let's go out, put the game to bed. Then we'll make changes, look into the next game, irrespective of who the next game is. Because, I mean, I know that I've noticed that most of our games, we're finishing them by half-time, 55 minutes. Because we're not scoring a lot in the last half hour of games. Because we're bringing players on, and that breaks up the rhythm. But the game's won by then. So it doesn't really make a lot of difference, but it's saving players for the next game, whatever the next game happens to be. It just the next game after Wednesday is a game that could go a great way to decide where this league title's going.
I like the V55 in there. I like that subliminal messaging. Right, Greg, how's the game going to go? What's your prediction?
Again, I think it'll be a tough game, but I think Rangers will win. I think this time we'll win. I'd say 3-1. I think they'll get a goal, but I think 3-1 for me. I think we'll get a wee early goal. Maybe a second, but someone get one back, and then later on in the game, I think we'll get the third. Aye.
Right. Well, how many goals are Rangers going to score?
3. I'll go with this getting 3.
Who's the first goal scorer for you? Just in case anybody fancies a bet.
Depending on the team that he picks, we'll go for Joe Aribo.
Joe Aribo. Actually, before we go, we should actually pick up on that. That's something I completely forgot about, Greg, and that's the performances in the last few games of Joe Aribo. I've always felt that he was a very, very good player. I was excited by him, but then he kind of tailed off for a while. Didn't maybe perform as well as we expected, but since he's come back for that injury, he's come back with a bang.
Oh, he's been absolutely superb. He really, really has. When we first came, it was just, you could see the quality and the potential in him, and then obviously he kind of dipped off in the injury, but he just seems a massive impact even in other players about him as well. He seems to bring out the confidence, and you always feel as if he's going to do something. Like when he gets the ball in, runs, I can't believe his footwork for such a tall guy. The way he controls the ball, just for an instant touch, it's incredible. But he's always in the move. His rotation with other players is great, and he's always able to score a goal. I think he's going to be absolutely massive if Rangers are to achieve it in this season. He's just brilliant at the pinpoint everything we do, and long may it continue. It's a joy to watch.
Aye, absolutely. Wilf, Joe Aribo, for you, how important could he be, actually? I should have mentioned it before I'd done the predictions, but hey-ho. Joe Aribo, how important could he be going forward?
Well, as Greg says, I think he could be absolutely critical. I mean, his footwork's incredible. I mean, he's you know, you see that they put 2 or 3 players on him, and he just dances around them, and he makes us lots and lots of space. And if opposition are closing down on him, put 2 or 3 guys on him, and he can get free, and then we've got to have players. It just follows that we've got spare players, and obviously his teammates will know what he's capable of. So yeah, I think he could be absolutely crucial.
Right, gents, that'll do us. For everybody watching, obviously it's available on YouTube at youtube.com/The Rangers Rabble, facebook.com/Jers Rabble. We are on Twitter at Rangers Rabble. You can also download our stream, on Acast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc., etc. Just simply search Rangers Rabble. Keep an eye on our Twitter. We are now on Instagram as well. If you search Rangers Rabble, I'm not 100% sure yet how to use Instagram, but I'll get there. Wilf, mate, thank you very much.
No problem, Martin. Absolute pleasure.
Greg, as always, mate, thank you.
Thanks, Martin.
Thank you for everybody watching, listening, streaming, downloading, following, subscribing, and we shall speak to you very soon.